And indeed, this is going to be a good evening. This is the fourth town hall meeting that's been held all over the city, and the response has been absolutely wonderful. People have come out, even in snow, right, Mr. Mayor? They've come out to engage in a dialogue, a conversation with people who run the city, who manage the city, and who have your best interest at heart. This is an opportunity for all of you to talk to these people and to let them know what your issues are, what your concerns are. And some of you are wondering, who is this guy standing up there talking? Well, my name is Bob Pickett, and I live in Orange. I'm a proud resident of Orange. I've been a resident of Orange for 10 years. I moved over from South Orange, and I've been happy ever since. And I happen to also work for a broadcast outlet in New York known as WPLS on a show called Open Line. I'm in New York with James and Tume and Bob Slade. And by the way, they send their regards as well. So, here are a little few ground rules. We're going to have the mayor make an opening comment, opening statement, and you'll hear from each of these individuals here who work with the mayor, as well as an opportunity to let them share with you exactly what their issues are, what their concerns are. Everybody who comes to that microphone will have an opportunity to address the mayor and his administration for 3 minutes. And when you see me do like this, that's a wrap. That means you got 30 seconds to wrap it up. But I'll try to be kind, but if you're saying anything significant, I want to interrupt you, I'll let you go on. So ladies and gentlemen, having said all of that, of the City of Orange, Dwayne Warren.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you to the public for coming out. This is an important part of our democracy, and we welcome the input from citizens. In running for office and talking about transition, to have the entire administration come out, your opportunity to pose any questions that you like, to raise any issues that you like. We will most likely learn something from your questions and your comments, and hopefully, if you critique us, we will do better in the future. We'll have a lot more of these, so we'll have an opportunity to always have an ongoing dialogue with the public. Everyone is up here is open to your question, to your comments, and to your critique. So we're ready, Bob, for questions at any point. Okay. Thank you all for coming again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, who's going to kick it off? Who's that brave person that has a question? There you go. Come on, and would you be kind enough to tell us your name and your address, please?
Yes, and I don't have a question, just a comment. My name is Elizabeth Jackson. I live at 96 Elm Street, East Ward, but I was out of town, so I wanted to make this last meeting. But I just wanted to thank the mayor and the staff tonight, because I've been working for the city for a long time, and I retired last November. And I just wanted in the public to know this is not the only format that the mayor has done. He's also taken the opportunity to meet with us as staff people, each division, each department. And this is the first time I've seen this done. And I'm hoping everyone will support what the new administration is doing. And as he said, if there's things that you want to improve, please feel free. But again, I just want to personally thank you.
Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Yes, ma'am. Please come to the microphone. Even though you have a strong voice, I know.
Yes, I do.
Yes, indeed. Tell us your name and your address.
I'm Montre Calvin Thomas, and I work and reside at 485 Park Avenue in Orange. I'd like to say on behalf of Public Park Avenue Bees that we thank you for, Mr. Mayor, and your administration for this open forum. But before we get started, would you please have the members of mayor's administration introduce themselves? We may have questions, but we don't know who to direct them to.
All right, that's very good, very good. Why don't we start from my right here, this handsome gentleman. Tell us your name and tell them exactly what you do.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Raymond Wingfield Jr., Deputy Director of Public Works. My responsibility is mostly street maintenance, cleaning, snow plowing, building maintenance, maintaining the buildings, overseeing different aspects, tree trimming, and so forth. Leaf collection, during the storm, my responsibility was to make sure the streets was clean.
Hello, good evening. Marty Mays, I'm Director of Planning and Development. Also, I am Director of Public Works and Engineering. And I'm responsible for mainly the capital projects that take place, the housing developments that take place, and Ray mentioned a lot of things. I'm also responsible for snow removal and anything that really impacts your quality of life from a public works or a development standpoint.
Good evening. Thanks for coming out. My name is Keith Royster, and I'm the Deputy Director of Communications and Information Technology. It's my responsibility to ensure that information and messages to the Orange residents and key stakeholders are delivered in a comprehensive way using print, broadcast, and new media.
Good evening. My name is Adrian Wooten. I'm the Deputy Director of Community Service. I head the Recreation Department, the Office of Older Adults and Cultural Affairs. And thank you for coming out.
Hello, my name is Michael Dowd. I'm the Director of the Fire Department in the City of Orange. The primary mission of the Fire Department is fire protection, but also under my department is the EMS response.
Kind of narrow.
Yeah, I know. It's very.
But with this task force that comes,
I said, oh, it's cool.
when this task force comes, it's a much more thorough inspection, and the citations are a lot broader that can be given and that will be given. I'd also like your tenant association to schedule some time with the city's law department just to go over some tenants' rights issues that we need to address.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to find out about the rights.
And I know Councilwoman Easton's been vigilant in terms of setting up meetings. We'll be happy to attend the meeting as well.
Okay.
I've seen some of the apartments.
Right. Because I did show you at that luncheon. You know, like as far as with our parking, we have handicap apartments there, so they made handicap spaces, which they told tenants. So they took tenants' parking spots and just told them in a general letter that you don't pay for parking, so you just park wherever you can park. You know, that kind of attitude is like crazy. You know, it's just general disrespect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whenever the meeting happens,
Okay.
I certainly would be happy to attend, but I think I'm going to bring a member of our task force and a member of the law department with us so we can.
Okay, that's
needs to be
good.
some guidance.
That's what I want. That's what I want
Absolutely.
you to talk to this new management company to let them know that they just can't dismiss us. That's what
Absolutely.
they seem to do. Okay?
Good.
That's my comment.
Good question.
I have a solution.
Excuse me, sir.
May I address the solution coming to the Washington Dot issue?
Okay.
My name is Jeff Feld. I'm not a citizen. I am a taxpayer. I'm a business owner. I don't know if I'm really allowed to speak
You are?
at this forum, but there is a solution that I've been talking about for about 4 or 5 years, and it's for these 4 people to start addressing. On November 19, 2010, Judge Kennedy did not address an issue regarding Washington Dot. Washington Dot is not located in a lawfully designated redevelopment area. Under Lytle and under the state constitution, there's a question whether a tax abatement could ever be granted to that entity. Judge Kennedy refused to address that question. It's time for you to revisit the tax abatement agreement. As these people have been telling you, there's been a change in ownership 3 times. 4 times. We're talking about management. I've been in contact with HMFA. There was a local public notice regarding the
HMFA.
Housing Mortgage Finance Agency.
I know what it is, but
They are the mortgage
audience stop for a second. I mean, you're doing a good job, but those kind of acronyms and everything, the
I'm trying
audience
to help you, Steve. I gave that.
Yes, you did.
The Housing Mortgage Finance, 2 or 3 weeks, about a month ago, issued a public notice about another bond, put another mortgage on the property. I notified the HMFA that they should start investigating, because they mentioned the name Wynn Residential. Wynn Residential was never on the application that was submitted to the council or to the prior administration for approval. So there's a real question whether they
That's a
It's not
management.
the owner, it's a management.
That's a management.
No, Wynn Residential, if you look at the original application that was filed with the city in 2009, the 99% owner was going to be a Bank of America. I don't think Bank of America retains an interest. This is something that this side of the building, this side of the room needs to start looking at. Revisit the tax abatement. That might get you a little more power to help these people.
Got a question for you. Let me ask you a question. Have you presented your thoughts and your ideas to
I sued the city.
that side of the room?
I sued the city. I brought lawsuits against the
Okay,
city.
but that's not my question, though. Have you consulted with that side of the room recently?
I court orders asking to meet with this group about various litigation. They will not meet with me. Today, I was in court, and now unfortunately I had to announce the court granted me leave to take depositions of certain people in the city administration. Mr. Royster.
What case, what kind of case is it?
This is an Oprah case, because we began this evening with the mayor talking about transparency in citizens. This is an Oprah case about why, one of the questions that later I was going to ask, when we talk about transparency, there's questions at the city's website.
Hold on one second. Just so that everybody
Open
understands.
Public Records Act.
See, you beating me too much. You want to do my job here?
Mr. Pickett, I know we're going to take it into a different section. I don't have a problem with it, but are we going to finish the Washington Dodge?
I just want to focus on Washington Dodge. That's a solution to Washington Dodge. Focus on the tax.
The reference he made to Oprah is the Open Public Meetings Act, and there are certain requirements a municipality is required to undertake. My suggestion, sir, it sounds like you have a lot of knowledge about it. If you'd be kind enough to talk to that side of the room without being adversarial about it, that might be helpful.
Sir, you don't know who I've been, what I've been doing the last 5 years. The only way I get to speak to the city, former administration, is by filing lawsuits.
Okay.
That's where I am.
Well, I think
That's where
Mr. Pickett, I just request that you maintain some decorum.
Yes.
They had a section
I
of
understand.
questions that they wanted to ask,
I
and
understand.
they're entitled to get.
Thank you very much for your comments, and you're right, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, now I want to introduce a resident, another resident in the complex who's had a lot of problems.
Okay. Ma'am, would you be kind enough to step close to the mic and tell us your name and your address, please?
Hi, I'm 336A Carroll Street, Dr. Karen here. I've lived in the Washington Dock complex since 1978. And I've stayed here because it was consistent, it was stable, it was clean. And this renovation, we've lost so much. I've had to have furniture restored because of the movers. I've lost space. They don't want to do anything. I moved back to my unit in May. Today was the first day I got people in there to start doing the things that were wrong, that they had a listing of that were wrong. In addition to that, 3 months before I moved out, I got a rent increase. I find out today they're asking me for another rent increase as of the beginning of January. Not only are they asking me for another rent increase, but they're telling me that now they're putting me on a month-to-month lease. No one signed the letter. I have it with me. And it says that they can ask us to evict the premises if we don't pay this rent receipt. Meanwhile, it's not signed by anyone. So how can you give me a rent increase, tell me you're going to send me month to month, tell me if I don't pay it, I'm going to be evicted, and there's no signature on it? That is not a legal and binding contract. Secondly, not only did I lose space, but we used to have storage. We've lost storage, we've lost parking, Orange Police used to come through and monitor us. We don't even see the police. As one of the women said, you call the police department, they tell you, if we have somebody, we'll send somebody. So, Tennessee has been very, very helpful. But I think someone needs to talk to whoever is over Fred Mitchell. Because how can, everything that comes with this wind management company, no one's name is on it. It says the management team. You don't send me something, ask me for confidential information, and tell me the management team wants it. Who is the management team? So I think they need to be accountable.
All right, well, thank you very much, ma'am, for your comments. Let's move on to the additional comment. Let the lady green, and then we're going to go to you. Ma'am, would you be kind enough to come up and tell us your name and your address?
Good evening, all. My name is Delia Alvarez. I live in 142 Lincoln Avenue. I have a complaint, no consent, it's complaint. It's been about almost more than 2 years. It's a bar, it's a club, nightclub, it's a restaurant, 145 Lincoln. And the previous owner, they did, because we sent them a petition last October to the board, and they did, like, they suspended for 3 days, 3 nights in a row for almost 3 months. It helps. Then, in the beginning of this year, another owner came, and they started again. The music's too loud, they stay to 2 o'clock in the morning. When they open the doors, like they throw in bomb. And not only that, I waited till 2 o'clock, they closed the place 2 o'clock in the morning, and then the noise, and they have a security, but it doesn't work. And my complaint is that I went to the lady, the wife of the owner, and I asked her, can you please? And she said, well, we have a permit. I said to her, to have the music loud to 2 o'clock? She said, well, that I don't know. But I asked her if she please, after 12 midnight, can you put the music down? And she's, well, seems like she understood me. That night it was okay. The second night it was okay. And then from there, this being since July, nothing been working. I called the police back 4 times. Out of the 4 times, 3 times they came. And they stood there. Seems like they know the police gonna come. Soon they see the police when the music go down. Soon the police gone, the music staying to 2 o'clock in the morning. So can you please try to, we are workers. And I work in sometimes 16 hours. And I try to sleep because I come in almost 11:30 in the night, and then I have to get up 5 o'clock in the morning. And please, can you help us out? We are about to do another petition send it to the board, see if you guys can help us. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, that's a disturbing situation. The 2 complaints about bars, I don't like it. I'm directing the police director that when they stop at a bar in a case like that there should be complaints taken and there should be summons issued. I'm directing him to put that in force right now. The other thing about that is when you have a petition, please send it to our office because once again, our task force will get it and the ABC board will get it and take immediate action. Thank you for your comment.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, let's go with the young lady right here. Thank you very much for your comment.
Good evening. My name is Betty Parrish Mensa, and I reside at 496 Park Avenue with my husband, Fred. And
You got to lift the mic up.
oh, I'm sorry. Oops. Good evening. My name is Betty Parrish Mensa, and I reside with my husband, Fred Mensa, at 496 Park Avenue. The reason why I'm at this mic tonight is in last Sunday's paper, there was an article about a man, 20 years old, seriously injured in Orange when he is shot while sitting in a car. That was the Thursday, I guess that might have been Thanksgiving. Also, a 26-year-old Montclair man was shot in the back on November 10th while on Golden Street. On October 22nd, gunshots were reported around the corner at Washington and North Bay Streets. The next afternoon, 3 gunmen opened fire at people outside a nearby Cleveland Street house. My question is, what is the city's plan of action to address this issue? And what results should we expect?
All right, that's an excellent question. Mr. Mayor?
I'd like to refer to the police.
Thank you, Ms. Parrish-Mensa, sir. We've done several things in the past 5 months. Some of the tactics that we're using are increasing our friendships and partnerships with outside agencies, the neighboring cities. We've instituted more warrant squads or warrant arrests, where we send officers out to specifically look for people in certain areas of concern where the crime has increased. We've also been using what I've explained over the week, parking walks, especially in areas where we know we have problems. And the parking walk is any officer you see in patrol vehicles, instead of parking in a certain area just to add presence, they would actually get out of the vehicle and walk around. That is to give the residents some security that the officers are all over, and we are taking a great deal of effort to secure them in their areas. Additionally, we have brought back our crime watch groups, our community service bureau, to institute and help residents bring back crime watch groups. We didn't have that over the past 4 years. So several things that were not in place, we brought back to address these situations right now. I was asked last night, what are we doing right now? And those are some of the things that we are doing. And it's really the presence of police officers. There are cases that we're building against individuals that we know are committing these crimes. So these are things that we're doing now. Long term, there's other processes and task force that will be in place to hopefully keep the numbers of crimes down. So once we get rid of it, we'll have to do something to keep it down.
All right, thank you very much, Director Sims. You have another question, ma'am?
Well, I just wanted to say I've lived in Orange for 24 years this month, and this is a great city. It's only 2.2 square miles, so when something happens on one side of the town, we all feel it. And this is a quality of life issue. Not everybody in this room goes home and has to live within these 2.2 miles. But this is one of the greatest cities. It's one city where you can still find affordable housing. It has accessible roads. It has good transportation, an airport nearby. There's no better place to live. And all we're asking is for you to make this a better place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, young lady.
I like being called young.
You are.
We all ready.
You're young. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tell us your name and
You
your...
think I need a microphone?
Tell us your name
My name
and your
is
address.
Dr. Gloria Bozeman, 345 Walcott Street here in Orange. Hello, Dr. Hare. We're kindergarten friends, but she's 5 years older. I want to first start off by saying that the tone of my voice may sound adversarial, but this is the way in which I deliver messages to individuals. And sometimes they may sound challenging, and if they do, perhaps because it is a challenge. But I want to start off by thanking the mayor. Walcott Street was hit pretty hard after Sandy. We were a visitor attraction in many ways because it looked like the day after an atomic effect. I have on my coat because I haven't taken my coat off since we were 11 days without power. And we really found out how thankful we should be. And as I tell everybody who says, were you affected by Sandy? I said, I lost comfort. Thank God, that's all. So I was inconvenienced for 11 days. But I do want to say this. I was glad to see the mayor and others circulating on that block the day after when we all came out to kind of determine how much damage had been done. Unfortunately, after that day, we were never visited again. Now, it could be because you believe that the robocalls were coming through to all of us, but I lost power, which means that the phones that I have that are cordless were no longer operable. It would have been a good thing to foster communication by having someone bringing some notice, dropping it in the mailbox, giving us an update. We understood the devastation, but it did not, for me, alleviate or relieve you from your responsibility to inform the citizens as to where we were and what it was that we could in fact expect. So I'm concerned about that. I'm also concerned about and I have to be honest, someone asked me, I thought I would see you at council meetings. I can't take it. I think that we are going to have to do something to move us from this reality TV experience of city council to actually addressing the issues of concern that impact the quality of life for citizens of Orange. I like that director of my house, but I come here with that. I have a lot of titles, but this one tonight is resident and taxpayer. And I'd like to see a response to that. I read quite quickly, the 100 days of progress. I'm going to put the progress in quotes because I haven't really noticed as much progress as I would have liked to have seen in the 100 days. But 100 days is not a lot of time. I also noticed in reading the short bios of the individuals who sit here, many of whom I really don't know, and I've lived here for quite some time, I see the credentials, and I'll tell you that in many ways they are impressive. Now, perhaps because they couldn't be included in this document, I don't see a lot of experience in running cities, municipality, and what it is that's involved in the management and the efficacy of a municipality. But perhaps you have it. It would be good to put it in this room. But this is why I'm at the microphone at this point. It is very difficult to judge an administration and the people who sit on this board without knowing where you want to go. So I'm asking you to share with the citizens of Orange the strategic plan for the next 100 days. So that when I come to this microphone, I won't be talking in generics or esoterical or rhetorical statements, but I will be able to say that in 100 days, Mayor, and this talented group of individuals in the administration, I'll be able to say that not only with regard to just what's wrong with my block, I don't think those trees are ever going to disappear on my block. I think the roots down will plant something in and see if it'll grow. But I do say that in 100 days, I'd like for you to be specific about what it is that I can expect to see changed. And then in those 100 days, when I come back to this microphone that's a part of this forum, I will be able to say congratulations. You said at the end of 100 days, I could expect to see whatever it is that you challenge yourself, and I think you've got to challenge yourself in several areas. But I'd like to see something more specific because time moves quickly. It moves very quickly. And in a matter of a few days, this administration will be back into election or re-election mode. So my question is, first off, tell me in general where you could think you could go. And secondly, if you could put that in writing as to where it is we expect to be in the next 100 days, it would give me a better barometer by which to judge the effectiveness of it.
Thank you very much for that comment. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for your comment. Hurricane Sandy was devastating for all of us, and I too lost power for many days of frustration. But I was mostly out in the streets and didn't really experience how much loss of power that we had at home. Alcott was particularly devastating, and I was on Alcott and Ogden and around the area for about 4 or 5 days. And one of the days I pitched in with Public Works, I actually cut some of the trees to clear the road. And one of the other days I was out challenging, I would say, or arguing with PSE&G as to why they couldn't go into one home, because the tree was actually on the house, entangled in wires, and why they couldn't go in and cut the power off and move people from the house. So we had a lot of interaction with the area, not just on the day of use of it, but other days as well. As far as the challenge for the next 100 days, some of the things that I think you would see, and my administration is putting together a report, which work on the budget at this point, but you'll see what we intend to do in the next 100 days. But one of them is, first of all, to get a budget that's realistic, timely, and that does not raise taxes. The other thing is this issue of crime. We want to get all of our initiatives with the police department up and going and started. We want to have the cameras installed that'll be throughout the city. I want to have imposed on developers the requirement that they too invest in a camera, install it in their buildings that would hook up with our police department, like the 9 we already had, but to include in development projects that they have cameras as well. Fiscally, I would like us to be at a point where we have eliminated all of the waste and that we have retained the dollars that we think were wasted in the town and that could still be recovered to put back in the city coffers. I expect to see a number of programs benefiting children to be up and going. We have a partnership with the Board of Education where we have a number of initiatives, and I'd like to see those up and going. I think January, the first week of January, those will start to go, and I hope to see some fruit from those as well. From a public works standpoint, I hope to have the funding necessary so that we can address the street paving problems, sidewalk, and some of the tree trimming problems that continue to pose problems for us season after season. Those are things we just have to do immediately. I've tasked the Deputy Business Administrator to continue to foster relationships with Trenton and Washington, D.C., and to start to bring back those dollars that will take money, instead of putting tax dollars, put those grant dollars back to work on various services that we have. In the public works sector, I expect in the next 100 days that we will have more concrete working relationships with cities so that we have more shared services. Something that may affect us most currently is probably the snow and the salting that we use. We have a working relationship with East Orange that we've tested, but we think we can do better. So those kind of relationships, I hope that we expand a little bit more. In the next 100 days, I'd like to see the partnership with the library to be stronger than it is, so it offers stronger services to our children as well. There are opportunities there where we can have shared services. I'd like to see those kind of things be done on a more efficient basis. In the health department, there are certain grants and initiatives that the health director is working on, and I'd like to see those up and running and online within the next 100 days. Those are some of the things that I'd like to see. But more aggressively from our law department, there are a number of abandoned buildings, a number of buildings with outdated tax liens that we need to move on immediately to get them back on the tax rolls, to get them into auction so that people can come buy them and beautify our neighborhoods. And one of the big things that I expect to see is the continued creation and development of a parking authority that will be a revenue generator that will coincide with the Transit Village designation that we received, where we have developments online. As far as some of our developments go, in the next 100 days, I don't expect to have any buildings built. However, I do expect to have some shovels in the ground on a number of developments that will spur development across the city. And one of the big things that I intend to do is to have a mayor's roundtable on development where we have citizens, business people, realtors, and others part of the group to look at the hospital site. I expect that body to be up and operating and to start to review some of the proposals that have come in for the hospital site so that long range we can start to make a decision on how that site's going to be developed. The projects range from high-end housing all the way to retail stores such as a Target or a Walmart to be developed. But I think that has to be a community input as to how that area is developed. So as soon as the budget cycle is over, you will see where do we go from here in the next 100 days. And then we're going to have a phase where we have short range, medium range, and then long range planning for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your comment.
Oh, and Mike, I'm sorry, just one more item. You mentioned the council meetings that we have on a regular basis. The administration, I've spoken to each one of the directors. We have to do and will do our part to make sure that we sort of develop briefing sessions for council members. So sometimes we give them information, it's tough to read or may require explanation. And so I've set out so we can do briefing sessions so we can bring council persons in before the meeting, before the work session, so they have an understanding of it. So when we get to council meetings, it's just about a discussion and then a vote instead of the back and forth that is characterized many of our council meetings.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's have the next question, ma'am. Would you be kind enough to walk up to the mic and tell us your name and your address?
My name is Bernice Maltica. I live at 471 Burnside Street, Orange, off Washington, because we do have to Burnside. My complaint or thing is that, as the lady said, the newspaper article regarding the shootings. I've been here myself longer than probably most people in the audience because my family's been here for 100 years and better. So I know what we were, I know what we can be. And we need to work together. As mayor, when he was campaigning, he promised us that he would work together. But the council meetings that I see, we're not working together. There's a separation. We need to get together. The other thing is that on Burnside Street alone, we have approximately 5 houses that are vacant. The one house in particular is right next door to me. It's been broken into twice. I called the authorities. They came out The police officer came out and said to me, okay, everything's okay. The kids were still in there, and they just took the kids on their way. I don't know if the kids gave them some kind of a story, or, I don't know exactly what happened. But the house needs to be either boarded up, condemned, or whatever. There is still food in the house. The house has been vacant for 2 years. There is still, when the city came out and supposedly closed the house up, 2 days later, the front door was wide open. And as neighbors, we went and closed the door ourselves. It is owned by the bank. The bank comes and cuts the grass, if you want to call that. My husband and I cut the grass. They don't. They take pictures and get paid for it. So, these are some of the things that we need to address. Also, we need to address Burnside does not get police protection. We do not see a police car unless it is called. And then, like some of the people said, if someone is available, they will come. That's the answers that we get. So, I just want to say that we need to get back to everybody working together.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Did you say, I'm sorry, did you say the address of the vacant houses?
The one that I definitely have is 469. That's directly next door to me. 479 is also. I'm not sure of the other three, what their numbers are. 500, I know. But the other two are up for me. And of course.
Inspectors will be on that tomorrow.
Thank you. Oh, and also, the tree that you cut in the back of my property is still right there. So that would be Mead Street. Because my property goes from Burnside Street to Mead Street.
In terms of those properties, they'll be inspected tomorrow. And action will be taken on those.
Mr. Mays has been there twice.
Yes.
He's been on top of
Yeah,
that.
Mr. Mays has been there, but it's not boarded. It needs to be boarded up so these kids can't get in. They went in through the cellar. We, as neighbors, locked up the cellar as best we could. So Mr. Mays has been there. I'm not saying he's not doing his job, but it needs to be somehow completely closed up. Or the person owning it has to be responsible.
Thank you very much. The other thing we're going to try to do is, as Mr. Mays begins to put his budget together, he is going to ask for funding, and he consistently looks for grant dollars to try to get board-up funds. What that allows us to do is to board the properties up and not wait for the owner to do it. Board it up and then put a lien on the property, and then we can go after the property to make them pay back. That's the process that we're going to carry out. I want the police director to respond to the issue about the police, and I've heard this as a recurrent theme as we've had these meetings over the last couple of nights, but the response that we will send someone when they're available is unacceptable and won't be tolerated, and is going to change as a result of our comments at these meetings. That's unacceptable and won't happen again.
Amen.
Right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have to echo the same thing that the mayor just relayed to you. I don't quite understand that response myself. They'll send somebody, when you call, we'll be there. Under this administration, that is what we'll be doing. If it does not happen, I need you to call back and get somebody's name. And then the next day you call and you let me know. You deserve better. You pay enough taxes to get better. And we'll make sure that you do get that service. As it pertains to the vacant homes, I'll take these addresses and we will respond to those areas and we'll check them frequently. We do quality of life for abandoned homes and we check them as often as we can. And until they're boarded up, and we'll keep a watch for as long as they are abandoned. Again, if you saw something that did not seem correct when the officers went there, call back and let us know. And then we'll look into it. There may be other circumstances that it couldn't go another way. But we will investigate it to the best of our ability and let you know how we did.
Thank you very much.
If I could just add one more thing, and this is to the audience at large, when you have these situations like this Mola has, and because it's a safety hazard as well, it's a fire hazard as well, we need those complaints to come in. And if you don't get the proper response, the mayor's office is available. Call, tell them what it is, tell us what the response is. I need the information because I'm being more aggressive about it. It's just not checking and looking. We're being aggressive when we're taking it to court. We just won in court today with regard to some boarding homes that were illegally set up on Lincoln Avenue. We're taking these matters to court, but we would lose in court if we don't have the full information. So don't believe you're bothering the police department. If you have to go to the police department's head, don't feel impinged upon. Report it so we can use this information in court so we can be aggressive about stopping this kind of quality of life issue.
Indeed, indeed. Ma'am, would you be kind enough to come up, or you have a question? Please tell us your name and your address, please.
I have a complaint.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'm Irene Carmichael. I live 515 Monroe Street in Orange. Our parking, my street is 1 block long. Now, I bought the house 33 years ago, and it was like that then. 3 days, we can't park on one side. 2 days, we can't park on the other side. And we have a lot of cars, you know, in one building. We might have 3 or 4 cars, and that's a problem, and it's getting worse. There's not too many houses there that have driveways either. So it probably was like that when Orange was here, because it was like that when I came here, but I think something should be done about that.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. And Mr. Mayor, you have a response?
Yes, I don't know if the no parking for the 3 days is for street cleaning.
But the street cleaner comes in the morning, maybe 5 or 5:30. They don't come back anymore.
I think it's a relatively simple fix to investigate. We'll have Marty Davisville look into whether or not we can actually specifically designate when streets are going to be there. And if they're not there in those days, of course, we draft the ordinance that would go before the city council to make the change so that we don't have so many days designated for street sweeping or when only street sweeps one day.
See, what happened is they sweep one side Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you can't park that side, period. They sweep my side Thursday, Friday. You can't park on that side, period. But they only come in the morning. They don't come all day long. But we can't park.
That's an ordinance that we'll look into.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And you know what, you can also follow up with this gentleman here, Mr. Mays, and he's very responsive and he'll address your issues as well.
Okay.
Thank you for your comment and your complaint. We appreciate it very much. All right, who's next? All right. Thank you very much. Be kind enough to tell us your name and your address.
Good evening. I'm Mildred Sykes. I live at 495 Park Avenue. I've been there for 35 years. We have an issue in our neighborhood on our block. There's a gentleman that roams the streets. He's very threatening to people. He has walked up to different ones, and he has said threatening things. It's evening, he says good morning. If it's morning, he says good evening. He crosses the street. He stands in the middle of Park Avenue sometimes. Our neighbors have complained. They've called the police before. I believe right after the storm on a Tuesday, one of the neighbors called and they sent out the EMTs, because there was no police available due to the storm. So he's been roaming around. He has an umbrella that he carries. He points it at people. My neighbor, Dr. Thomas, she called on Sunday for the police to come out. So we don't know what's wrong with this gentleman. We don't know if he's, if he's in his right mind or what. And we're fearful of him. I mean, the way he walks around in our community, and I believe mostly he's on Park Avenue. He comes out of 486 Park Ave. It's a big yellow house across the street.
So we don't know if he has a problem or if, you know, if he'll hurt one of us or whatever. So I don't know who would address that issue and how that could be handled.
And Mr. Mayor.
If he's threatening, of course, you shouldn't have contact with him, you should contact the police department. But even beyond that, even if the police do have cause to bring him in or arrest him, he should be referred to mental counseling. But in a situation where the police are not involved, you still can contact the Department of Health, and I'm going to ask, would you have a conversation with Ms. Sykes, with Wendy Sykes, before this is over, so that they may visit the premises. And there is a procedure legally where he can be confined, he can be required to get help, the help that he needs.
Okay, because we don't know if, you know, someone is caring for him, you know, maybe he's there for that purpose. It's just something that came up in the past couple of months, I suppose.
There are a number of resources that I think the health department may know about that can make them aware of as well.
Okay, and also the issue that Ms. Kimball mentioned about the Castaway Lounge. I'm also one of the residents that's involved with hearing all the noise. We find personal items on our property. We find flyers from other establishments that I suppose is passed out to the patrons there. And it's just really, it's awful. My husband and I both are seniors. We're awakened 2 o'clock a.m. in the morning when they're leaving. I've called the police department several times. I've documented the officer that takes my call, the badge number or the name and the time I call. And it's just, it's awful. It's really awful. I mean, we wake up on Saturday morning and Sunday morning like we've never had any sleep because we cannot sleep at night with all the noise and everything that goes on down there. So, you know, as she stated, I certainly hope that something is done about it. The 35 years I've lived there, we have never, ever had that problem before. Thank you for your time.
And thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Ms. Sykes. I asked that Officer Hill see Ms. Sykes and get her information so we can discuss that.
Thank you very much, Police Director. All right, who's next, ladies and gentlemen? Come on. No one? Going once? Somebody, sure. Tell us your name, sir, and your address.
My name is Donovan Graham. I live at 20 Bell Street. I actually saw the flyer, that's why I came out here. My one question is for Hakeem. During the Hurricane Sandy, we were all outside waiting in line for gas and everything like that. And I understand that some of the police officers might have some type of priority to get gas, but it also seemed like they were letting in their friends and families to all go ahead of us. In case we ever have any type of emergency situation again like this, are you guys going to have some type of system set up to where we know that you're just not letting your friends and families go by to get gas before us? Because we were in line for 4 to 5 hours, and everybody in the line is saying that they're letting their friends and family go by. This isn't just what I'm saying, this is what everyone was saying.
All right, thank you very much for your comment. Police Director.
Thank you, man. I can't speak to what happened. Obviously, I wasn't there. But one thing we did do is look at everything that happened during Sandy. And what Sandy was, as it was an unprecedented storm, it was an opportunity for us to learn from the situation. We did a lot of great things, and there are some things that we could do better. Whatever happened at the gas stations, we'll look at. I'll take your statement specifically back to my command, and we'll work on how we can make that a better situation. God forbid we end up there again. Fortunately, we didn't have the incidents that other towns had because they were very effective in allowing people to get gas when it was their time, once the limits were placed on us. So thank you for that. I'll make sure we take it back and look at it.
Can I just add, Bob, that if that occurred, and if you know the person that did it, there's a procedure, internal affairs procedure, you should report it, because it's unacceptable behavior.
Like, I totally understand
some police
Could you
vehicles.
come to the mic again? I appreciate it. Thank you.
Like, I totally understand some of the officers might have a little bit priority and they need gas, they're just getting off work.
Official officers with official cars, and they're on duty. At that point, police officers themselves were on 24 hours, so they were always on duty. But to break the line for family members who are not working on official duty, that's unacceptable and won't be tolerated.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much. Alice, would you be kind enough to state your name for the record and your address?
My name is Alice, and I'm the title director of whatever. I would like to say that I don't consider myself a senior, but I'm glad to be here with great grandmother too. But during this line, having lived through this, I was in college and we had the odd and even numbers before. And I went and sat in a car with one of the seniors from the building that was in line. And I noticed at the, I think it's a Lukoil at Oakwood and Central. And when there were cars coming in from Central Avenue, and they had us lined up on Oakwood. And when I did call the police department to report it, they did send a number of cars out, and they conducted the traffic and addressed the issue. So I did call back today to say thank you. A lady, female officer had answered the phone each time I called. And I did tell her to extend a thank you. I hope she did.
Thank you. That was a proper comment.
Right, thank you very much. Any additional questions, ma'am? Would you be kind enough to come forward? Thank you very much. And tell us your name and give us your address.
Again, thank you again. I'm Entree Calvin Thomas. I'm at 485 Park Avenue in Orange. I just wanted to address your team again and ask that you make us aware as a community the things that we can do to help our town. The communication that you used, the flyer, was effective, and I'm sure there are other ways of notifying us when there's something that you need the community to participate in. I think this is the first time that I've actually had an opportunity to speak to directly to all of the mayor's team, and I thank you for that. We are the Upper Park Avenue Bees. We are a crime watch group. We've been in existence for about 20 years. I've lived at my address and worked where my office is. So I live and work in my community for more than 30 years. I've been a resident of Orange for almost 40 years. So Orange is very near and dear to my heart, even though I consider myself an Alabama, Florida girl. But our crime watch is still active. We just have not met in recent months. We'd like to get started again as we share a lot of information with each other, with our neighbors, and get feedback directly from the police department, fire department, and everybody here. So we'd like to know when you're going to get that up and running again. We want to participate, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And just Crime Watch and Block Watch associations are the most effective tools that we have in our arsenal against for law enforcement and for building our community. So thank you for being active in it. And we're going to have, I guess, Officer Hill contact you so you can get information so we can start up. There are many resources that the police department has and will get for Block Watch associations once you start up. So thank you. My wife's a Tuskegee graduate, so she'll be happy. Alabama. And the thing I did not mention about the next 100 days that I'd like to see is technology, advanced technology. We need that so much. I don't know if we'll get there, but we're looking to get to where you can pay your bills online, where we can communicate directly with you online. So technology is a big part of where I'd like to see us progress in the next 100 days.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Who's the next person to come to the mic? Young lady, be great. Tell us your name and your current address.
Hi everyone, my name is Joe Nixon. I live at 215 High Street in Orange here. I work for the Board of Education for 9 years. The reason why I came out tonight, I really had to make a real great effort because I was parked at work today and someone back in my car and just went away without saying anything. So, you know, I had to get the police and it took time, but I'm really, really happy to be here because I have some concerns. You know, I normally clean my yard a lot in Orange. Don't like to see paper and all these things around the place. Even clean my neighbor's sidewalk sometimes. And from the time you finish cleaning, like in an hour, 2 hours, it's soil again. I mean, it's the community we're living in. And I'm very happy to say that for the past few weeks, or months I should say, it has been a little change because like people around the area started to stand up, you know, and started cleaning more often, and you know, it's becoming a little better community. But I would really wish if you guys could put up like little signs, not litter, you know. Today I went home and I noticed that there is a sign there to curb your dog, so it made me very happy. At least that's a big step. So that's the reason why I would come out, because try to make the effort like to come out, it would become really beautiful. I love Orange. So thank you for having me to stand here. I'm a bit shy.
Thank you very much. I would never know you're shy at all.
Thank you very much for your comments. Yes. One of the initiatives that our Director of Public Works is working on is finding funding and looks all the time to make sure we can upgrade and install signage, whether it be traffic signs or litter signs that you're speaking about. Just having a sign there, just sometimes it makes people more mindful that, yes, I shouldn't do this or I should do that. So he's going to continue to do that, and the signs that we do have, he's going to start to put out. And also, I know Public Works is looking to see whether or not we can establish the adopted spots where a person or company will adopt spots to make sure it stays clean.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes,
Can I
ma'am.
make a suggestion on her statement?
Yeah, would you come forward?
Thank you, yes.
Thank you very much.
I don't want to put any more work on anybody. I don't think this will be a big expense. But I remember Councilwoman Gaunt many, many years ago. She used to, I came home one day and in my mailbox was a certificate. And the certificate was a beautification certificate. And it just thanked me for keeping my property clean. So I'm thinking maybe this task force, when they're riding around, if it's the entire block, if it's 2 or 3 houses, just to drop that certificate, you know, when they come back again, drop that certificate in. And I'll tell you, ever since I've gotten it, I've always been clean, but now I need to clean it. Because I want to take that part. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any more comments? Any more comments? Well, let me raise some questions. You have a comment, ma'am?
Just a quick comment, question.
You want to come to the mic, please? We know you got a powerful voice.
I do, and it's real quick. But for those of us who want to become involved in maintaining the quality of life in the community by participating and assisting, how would we go about doing that? How would we become a part of that team? I know you said you're going to ask for public participation, community members to have input. How will that happen?
The one thing that I'd like to see people do is crime watch groups that grow out into the community, so I take care of the community. But there are other things that you can get directly involved in. If you come to City Hall, you can come to my office directly. I'm always taking, you don't have to even do a formal resume, but some letter of your qualifications and what interests do you have. And we're trying to match people who have a certain interest to a certain area where we're going to need help throughout the city. And my number, and I believe it's in the book, 266-4005, 973-266-4005. You can call 973-266-4005. Ask for Cheryl, my secretary, and she'll give you all the information that you need. If you need an appointment, of course, you can stop on an appointment. And I do want to emphasize that this entire administration, including the mayor's office, is open for business. So if you want to talk to someone, if you have an idea, or you want to discuss some concern that you may have, you can always contact the department, ask for an appointment, come in and meet with the department director. If there's problems with that, the one office you can always call is 266-4005. That's my office, and we'll determine why you haven't had your concern addressed.
And he really means that too, ladies and gentlemen. He really means that. And he's a mind reader too. That's why he read Marty Mays' mind a couple of times as well. And he really means that though. And you know, I've known public is very serious. Any more? Any more? Come forward, ma'am, please. And be kind enough to tell us your name and give us your address as well.
My name is Gloria Stewart. I'm a resident on Hampton Terrace. I would just like to say my namesake stole a little bit of my thunder, but I just, in reference to what we can do, I think that's a very good idea, letting us know what we can do. And that leads me to one of my famous sayings by Shirley Chisholm: you get what you deserve, and you deserve what you get when you don't participate. So she gave us that. And so that's an opportunity for us to come and make a difference in the city. And I would also like to say that sometimes, you know, a lot of us sit back and we watch the council meeting, but we need to come out and participate, because by the time you see it, everything that is taking place, you know, it's a done deal. So if you want to make a change, you need to be part of the process. And watching it after it's happened, it's not going to make a difference, I think. I could be wrong. Something else I would just like to say as it relates to the police officers. And I'm thinking of East Orange and Orange. I don't know if you communicate with each other, you work together, but I think we need some communication, because just on my block this afternoon, it's all the traffic that something took place was directed on Hampton Terrace. It was like congestion, and if you check your calls, you will see that I've called a number of times. We need somebody here to direct traffic. And so if you work with East Orange, maybe we can prevent that, let them direct it in another direction. And I'm not just saying because it's the street in which I live, but it's really, really awful. So that's something maybe you can work with as, you know, city to city. And also in that same vein, I've noticed that some police officers, and I'm not just saying from East Orange, come in and they make stops in Orange. So I'm saying, don't we have Orange police officers, or should they be part of the process? If an East Orange officer stops someone on the Orange side, shouldn't there be an Orange police officer? But they, you know, go through their action and not involve our police officers. And so that's a concern for me. And I don't know if it's because I'm half Orange and half East Orange, and that still should be an excuse, because they should know where the line stops. The other thing I was just happy to say is that I like this forum, and I believe you want to get the pulse of the community, what we want, what we need. So the other side of that is, if in the future, once you've done the other 100 days or whatever that it takes to get, you know, some changes, if you would have something similar to this, to give us a report, you know, a live report, not just from watching the council meeting. And that's just food for thought. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment. Mr. Mayor.
I'd just like the police director to just comment on the issue about the East Orange Police and the Border Patrol members.
Mr. Stewart, thank you for your question. When it pertains to maybe East Orange or any of our neighboring towns in our town, maybe a car stop, quite possibly a violation took place just over the line, and it ended up in Orange. Historically, what a town would do is say, listen, we're in your town with a car stop or performing whatever the operation is, and we would go there if someone was available. But chances are they have a unit from their police department that's coming to assist as well. In that vein, we have worked with some of our border cities. I had a pilot program with West Orange during the month of August, just to see how it would work, working with an outside neighboring city. It worked well. They were having a street robbery, purse snatch problem, and when we stopped that. On that East Orange border, between Central Avenue and Safe Freeway, we're looking to increase our efforts there. As you well know from living in the area, some 20 years ago when we had Burnwood Street as a real problem, we stamped that out. So we're looking to continue that effort and extend it west into the city. But not only with crime, but we're also looking at the traffic. The flow of traffic is an issue. We'll explore no-through traffic on certain streets to prevent just a pass-through from East Orange into Orange. So we are involved in looking at that, and we will reassess it as much as possible until we can at least bring some ease to you and the rest of the residents in that area.
Right, thank you, Director Simmons. Any more questions from the audience? We have a good 10 minutes. Let me just raise a couple of issues and get an opportunity for the mayor to respond. Mr. Mayor, you have a fondness for kids and a concern for the children of Orange. Talk to the audience about some of your initiatives as it pertains to children that you plan.
Thank you, Robin. And I've said this constantly, that if there's any criticism of our school district as opposed to other school districts, it's basically exposure. Some of them do better than we do because they're more exposed than we are. And one of the things that we came into office is saying that we're going to use all of our experiences to expose our children. And so we started the Mayor for a Day program, where we're going to have one of the seniors or juniors in Orange High School will be the mayor for a day. They'll actually wake up in the morning, they'll come to City Hall, they'll sit behind the mayor's desk, they'll meet with department heads, they'll take their interests, wherever it may be, in whatever law they want to pass, and actually present it to the City Council. The City Council adopts it, it will be a law for the City of Orange. It's that kind of exposure and leadership and overcoming any fears they may have that advance our children. The Mayor's Circle of Excellence will go from 6th grade to 12th grade, and they'll pull 3 children from each grade and give them exposures across the spectrum. They'll go to the courthouse, they'll go to Trenton, to the legislature, they'll go to Washington, D.C., they'll meet their congressman, their senator, hopefully the president, but I can't promise that. We've got corporations involved that said we may want to donate tablets or donate other opportunities for your kids. It's that kind of extracurricular academic exposure that they need. Extended Day program already has academic. I've had the Deputy Business Administrator explore a program where we could, instead of just having our kids in recreation jobs in the summer, that we can have an exchange with local businesses to say, why don't you hire some of the people in our recreation program, teach them a business, let them walk away with a skill. After the summer, if you like them, you keep them on. But at least they'll get some kind of real-world exposure in a job where they have to use their skill and get them prepared for the job market. We believe that the future for our children is being college-ready, being job-ready, and being career-wise in terms of their future. That's a way we start to combat the crime issue. We started in the police department with the Police Athletic League, and we've gotten corporate sponsors to come on board to have programs there as well. The busier we keep our children, the better off we're going to be in the future. So sometimes we may ask you to be involved in some effort that helps our children. So I hope that when asked the time, you'll respond to the call. Yes,
all right, thank you very much. Would you be kind enough to come to the mic now?
I speak very loud. I'm actually Lieutenant Tracy Wright, Orange Police Department.
Excellent.
Orange High School graduate, and I just wanted to add, New Jersey Monthly Magazine printed that Orange High School jumped 19 spots up. So that really needs to get out, and they did a nice little article because no other school district done that. And that is big kudos for Orange, education. So I'm sorry, I had to.
No, I'm happy you pointed that out, because you talk to realtors and you talk to investors and just people in general, and you ask them about Orange. The first thing that people always ask you, well, how is the school system? So to have any improvement is something that needs to be broadcasted as loud as they broadcast these statistics about the shootings. This kind of shot up in our school system using broadcast as well. Thank you for bringing this right.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very important point. Let me raise this question with Keith Royster. He's the communications person. Keith, you've heard some issues from people talking about communications and so forth. Why don't you share with the audience some of the things that you're doing to enhance communications to the citizens of Orange? and the residents of Orange. My mic, use my mic.
Okay, got it, no problem. We know that communication within government is critical so that citizens can know and trust what their leadership is doing, leadership that they elected, they appointed, they chose. Without that kind of communication going on, there's a level of mistrust. It affects the relationship between public and the people they elected for office. And officials sometimes forget that we work for you, therefore we report for you. Hence, that's why you have a 100-day report. A report card that you look at and you say, okay, this is what they've done, and this is what we can expect them to do in the future. We are trying to build a brand in Orange. And for me, a brand is more than just a logo. It's more than just a fancy slogan. It's about how you feel about us as administration. When you come into Orange now, when you come to City Hall, you will notice that that brand is taking effect both in the morale of the employees in terms of how they treat folks coming in to do business with the city. We take a model, an old practice Home Depot used to use. You come in, I want to find out where public records are. I want to find out what the health department is. We walk you to that door. We just don't point. We walk you to the door. You need to see somebody, we'll show you to their office. That's part of building a brand in Orange. It's more than just visuals, it's more than cosmetics. That's what we aim to do. Now, how that affects ongoing communication, it's a work in progress. First, admit that. There's a lot of things we like to do in terms of communication as it relates to a whole wide range of things, not the least of which being able to, if you want to come to City Hall, that's great. But if you want to do business online, that's something we're working on. We're identifying vendors who can actually do that, where you can actually pay your bills online, download forms online, that sort of thing. So your experience, however you touch us, however you touch the administration, is a positive experience. That's how you build a brand.
Thank you, Mr. Orson, very much. That was very informative. All of you out there are homeowners, probably, and you pay taxes, right? And some people might say taxes are high, or some people are paying reasonable taxes. Well, let's hear from Matt Rinaldi. He's the tax assessor, and he'll share with you a few words about the upcoming reevaluation of all of the properties in Orange. Matt?
Yes, as described at the other forums we've had, we are in the process right now of securing a vendor, working with administration and discussions with council to move forward with the revaluation for the 2014 tax year. The idea of a revaluation is to bring fair and equity to assessments. Some people maybe have been paying a little bit less, some people have been paying more, but we want to bring the field back to current market standards through a revaluation. The process, as we've discussed, is about a 9 to 10 month process. Hopefully we'll be starting into early winter, so we're on page for the 2014 tax year.
That's very important information to know. Dan Smith, you're the city attorney. You heard a lot of discussion about abandoned buildings, tax liens, and so forth. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing to aggressively pursue these kinds of remedies for abandoned homes and owners, bank owners, especially bank owners, who are abandoning their property that they foreclosed. How do you address those issues?
Well, we've presently identified properties that are considered high crime in high crime areas. And we're attempting to take those properties and put them back in the hands of responsible investors who want to live and prosper in the city of Orange. Our first foray into this area is about 25 properties that we've looked at. We'll be presenting that to the council for their approval, obviously, and we will be litigating those particular properties to remove from being abandoned, unused in the community. So we're confident that as we work on that list, you're going to start seeing drastic improvements in Orange once we identify those properties and litigate them out of the hands of people who are present and not taking care of those properties or paying taxes on those properties.
Thank you very much, Dan. Excellent job. Hakeem Sen, Police Director. There are a lot of things, innovative things that you're doing in the police department. A lot of people don't know about, besides the reinstituting the PAL neighborhood watch program. Tell the audience a little bit more about what innovative programs you're instituting that will benefit the residents of the city of Orange.
Well, as you mentioned, Mr. Pickett, the PAL program, something that we have not had. I can't say that I remember a PAL. I played Little League Baseball in the 70s here in Orange. I played football. We were in Orange for never remember the PAL. So that's going to be a great thing for us. One thing about it that will be very good for the community and the youth, which is being headed up by our Deputy Director, Todd Warren, is it's not just about sports for us. There's going to be scholastic component to it. There are going to be life enrichment components. So that's a great thing. Other programs that we're looking at, not so much programs, but attempts to make the city a better and safer place. The camera system, which was purchased maybe a year ago, but just never got off the ground. We have moved to get that moving. We have it to the point where we're purchasing all of the equipment and hardware, so it will be constructed throughout the city. We have a new record management system that helps us serve the city better. These IT programs help all the way through. It's not just to help us, but it helps us serve you better. Other programs that fall under crime suppression, we're trying different things. We mended relationships with outside agencies, the Sheriff's Department, the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, federal government, specifically ICE under the Customs Service. We're implementing those partnerships. Today alone we had an operation in one of our troubled areas where we made an arrest of 16 individuals, a total. 16. It was a process of 30 days with the Essex County Prosecutor's Office. And we also seized weapons and narcotics. So these programs, which we have not used in the past 2 years or so, we're back to using. And that's only to benefit the city.
Thank you very much, Police Director. And the last person that I want to make an inquiry of is Carl Smith. Carl, we have a lot of seniors who own homes within the boundaries of the city of Orange. Talk a little bit about the state programs that would benefit seniors who are homeowners and who pay taxes as well.
Yes, thank you for the question, Mr. Pickett. Good evening once again, residents of Orange. The program I want to mention, first and foremost, is the Homestead Benefit Rebate. The deadline for that is December 14th, and the phone number for that is 1-877-658-2972. 1-877-658-2972. If you are a senior and you're a single or a couple, you qualify for it as long as you do not make more than $150,000. So we want to encourage our seniors to apply for this. Come to my office. My number is 973-266-4034. 973-266-4034. And also, I want to mention the PTR program, which is the Property Tax Reimbursement Program. That program, unfortunately, has already expired. That one is deadline for that for this year was October 17th. But those applications will be available each year, usually like around the first or second week of March. My office and my staff will be glad to assist all seniors who are not in the program. We will help you. We can download the application from the website, and we will assist you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Carl. Appreciate it very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now 8 o'clock, and we were scheduled to end. before we end, are there any questions from the audience? You have a question?
Yeah, it's not a question, it was something that I think could work.
A comment. Okay, make a comment, and then we're going to have Councilwoman Eason make a statement, comment.
Okay, my comment is that as you talked about moving forward into the 21st century, that you invest in science, technology, engineering, and math. Because I think for the children of the community, and as a computer scientist, these are things that we need to gear towards if you want to interact in technology.
Thank you for that comment. We were just in a meeting recently with some foundation funders, and there's a hopes of innovation project that's going on at Princeton. And one of the funders who we work with in Orange, before they would commit to helping fund the program at Princeton, they obligated them to send 8 STEM teachers from the foundation to Orange. That's going to happen. Thank you for bringing that comment.
All right, thank you very much, Councilwoman Eason. And welcome again. It's delighted to see you again.
Thank you.
2 nights in a row.
Well, I've been 3 nights.
Okay, 3 nights. Okay, so 3 nights. I admire that. I admire your tenacity. Thank you.
Plus, I was at a family week at midnight last night, so I'm a little tired of it. But I want to thank the Northwood residents for showing up tonight, for taking the time out to come out and come to this forum. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope we will grow more as a family as we keep going along. But one of the things I wanted to do, let me introduce my council colleagues that is here.
Yes, please.
Yes, Councilman at Large, Elroy Corbett. I saw Councilman Abdul Rashid. I think he left.
Thank you, Councilman.
And I just want to make a couple of statements, and I want to thank the mayor for having this forum and for everybody that participated. I think it was information well needed to be shared. And I want to say I waited all day because, you know, I spoke last night about the shootings and all of that. And I waited for the call today about setting up the task force so that we could address the areas in the North Ward with the shootings. My phone never rang, but I'm hoping it'll ring tomorrow. That was a joke.
The mayor is reading the representative's mind right now.
But also, I just want to say, and that hopefully we will work more together, and I want to thank Mr. Mays for putting up those Scooper signs today. Thank you so much. I want to make Monroe Street, I must say, when I ran for mayor 5 years ago, she was complaining about Monroe Street. We really need to do something. It's been 5 years of trying to get that and adjust the timing so that they can park on both sides at some point. You know, maybe have a street sweeper come in early in the morning and give them the opportunity. And we did it on Cleveland and a couple other streets. But she's been waiting 5 years to get that done. I think that needs to be a priority for the young lady that came up. And to our esteemed Director of Police, I just want to say, and the residents talked a lot about police response. And I don't want to give our police officers a bad name, but you know, I call so much, they know my voice, even when I try to disguise it. So they always say, this is Councilwoman Easton, right? I said, yes, it's me. Sometimes I don't tell them that, but I just want to say, and when they say that we send a car when it's available, they're telling you the truth. Because we all know in the city of Orange, we need more police officers. So there is a shortage. We're hoping the mayor will address that very, very soon. So I don't want the residents to leave here tonight thinking that our police officers are not responding. But when they say they're busy, they're telling you the truth. So we just need to work with the mayor to make sure we hire more patrolmen so that they can respond in a timely manner. Because I call myself, and my thing to them is, I want to go to the spot and sit there until you get here. So I know how long it took you. And normally, they show up within a couple of minutes, but I'm saying, but to the residents out there, we need to make sure that we do get more police officers so that they can respond. Because I don't want to promise them something that we can't deliver. And then all you get is complaints, complaints, complaints. So in response to the police officers, they do the best they can. So thank you very much for this forum. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a lot of information shared, and hopefully, in the next 100 days, we can say we addressed every issue that came forth tonight. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Councilman Corbett, would you like to make a brief comment? And I guess that answer is yes, right?
Before I say anything, I gotta do something. Mayor. I just wanted to commend him and his staff for coming out and entertaining all of your questions citywide. This is a great thing, and you all should give him a round of applause. Now, the others.
4 nights.
Yeah, 4 nights. And I've been out all 4 nights.
Yes, sir.
And now it's up to the citizens to hold them accountable to your questions and your concerns. So let's hold them to the task. Make sure they do everything we ask them to do, and the only way we can do that is to follow up. Thank you, Mayor. Keep it up. The other side of the coin, as far as I'm concerned now that we have the citizens involved, we have to get the council involved. We have to meet with the administration so that we can work together, so that we can move the city of Orange forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Speaking of moving the city forward and being responsive, each one of these gentlemen, they work very, very hard on your behalf.
The ladies do too.
And, right, and the ladies too. Right. Gentle ladies too. Right. I'm going to direct you to the website for the city, and they'll have all numbers of everybody here, and their web addresses, their email addresses as well. I'll ask Keith Royster if he'd be kind enough to give out the website information where you can find all the numbers of all the directors here.
Okay, you'll notice on the 100-day report that the website is on the back. If you don't have a copy of the report, please collect one when you go before you leave tonight. The website is a work in progress, but still has all the information you need in terms of contacting us regarding various services. I'll also take this opportunity to let you know that the City of Orange has a Facebook page. It's an opportunity for real-time, ongoing communication. It's read, it's responded to. Please avail yourself of that opportunity. It's that information also is on the back of the brochure. The last thing I would ask you to do before you leave, there's a gentleman at the door near the entrance. If you haven't filled out a form in terms of your contact information, your name, your address, your email address, if you have an email address, and your cell phone number, that would be great. It's a great way for us to keep in touch with you. And once again, thanks for coming out.
Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't leave quite yet. On behalf of the City of Orange, on behalf of the Mayor, again, we want to thank all of you for coming out. In fact, I'd like everybody on this side of the table to give you a round of applause for coming out. It's a two-way street, and the communication is so critical and so important. And again, this is not the last time. You'll see more town halls. But also, you're going to see and hear from the mayor again in his first State of the City address, which is scheduled for January 31st, right, Mr. Mayor, 2013?
Yes, January 31st at the Orange Middle School.
Right, and that's at 400 Central Avenue. And there'll be lots of news made with that first address. So again, I'm going to let the mayor lock it out, close it out, and again say thank you. Mr. Mayor, would you be kind enough to say goodbye?
Just simply thank you to all that came out. I also want to thank the department heads. You know, when I interviewed them, I kind of left out the component that we'd be going before the public. It'll be no holds barred, there'll be no rules, there'll be no parliamentary procedure. There will just be questions, raw questions from the audience. They responded well. And the thing that they did before coming here was prepare, so we can have substantive answers. So I want to thank all of the directors that are here. Of course, the council people that are here, that do our part to make sure they're comfortable. And then lastly, Bob Pickett is internationally famous, and he came, and when I asked him to do this to lowly old me, he said yes, so I want to personally thank him.
Great honor, great honor. Again, thank you very much for coming. We do appreciate it.